I want to ask you a question and I want you to answer honestly. How much of your time in your relationship do you spend actually loving your partner? And how much of the time do you spend worrying about the relationship in an anxious place? You know the feeling, you feel completely unsafe, you're checking their texts, you're asking for reassurance, you're worried all the time on whether you've made a right choice, you're wondering what they're thinking. If this is you, you're not alone. Relationship anxiety is a very, very common experience, and today we are going to talk about it. Okay, so let's take a look at the agenda. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to explore 7 key signs of relationship anxiety. We are going to explore what you can do about it. And I want you to remember you are not alone. You are not broken, and this is not your fault. So let's proceed gently and let's get into it. For those of you who are new, my name is Kimberly Quinlan. I'm an anxiety specialist, and I am here to hopefully help you suffer less and manage your anxiety and overcome your anxiety. So I've created this timeline today for this video to help you to understand the different stages in your relationship and the different relationship anxieties that will show up. So first we have common issues that will show up in dating and connecting, then the second date, then the date planning, the ongoing date planning, then maybe your first fight, might be number 5, getting serious, number 6, being committed, and then when things start to get a bit rocky. But it's really important for you to know that any of these relationship anxieties can show up at any stage in relationships. I just tried to pick out the most common and when they show up. So number 1 is you overanalyze their texts, their silences, their tone of voice. And this is really common in the very early stages all the way through. You wonder if they've sent emojis or no emojis, what that means. You wonder what the tone is of different texts that they're experiencing. You're spending a lot of time ruminating. What does it mean? Do they like me? How are they feeling? Are they going to leave me? And it leaves you feeling incredibly unsafe. So that is the first thing I want you to be looking out for. And yes, the goal is going to be to reduce as many of these as possible as we move through. Now, number 2, this constantly or commonly will happen in the second and first dates, is you will start to notice that you're seeking reassurance or validation from that partner. Do they give you compliments? Do they like you? Are they really, really enthusiastic? They weren't enthusiastic, and they do a lot of personalizing. So you might notice you personalize as well. Personalization is when you take personally somebody else's action. Let's say they on the second date weren't quite as fun as they were on the first date. You might personalize that by going, it must be me, they mustn't like me, they're going to break up with me, instead of considering maybe they're tired, maybe they're jet lagged, maybe they're had a bad day, maybe they're not good on a Tuesday, but they're great on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the time here is you're hyper analyzing these moments and you're going to them for reassurance that you're okay in the relationship. And you might either do this by checking physically or visually checking, asking them directly. Again, you might ask other people, show them the text. What do you think about this? That's going to be a common way in which that shows up. So the next one is date planning. You might start to avoid setting boundaries because of your fear of being abandoned. So what I commonly see in my practice is partner or the person they're dating might be like, hey, let's go play pickleball. And you hate pickleball, but out of fear that this will be the next, like when they reject you, you're constantly waiting for them to reject you. You're constantly waiting for them to realize that you're not good or that something's wrong with you. You start to people please. You start to say yes to things that you don't want to do. I've had clients who said they've kissed people or they've even engaged in sexual intercourse with people when they weren't ready out of fear that they will be abandoned. That is very, very common. And again, we're not here to judge that. We're here to acknowledge that that comes from a deeply painful place. A lot of my clients will say, I acted in ways that I don't line up with my values. I said yes to things, taking drugs, having alcohol, going places they're not comfortable with. They wore clothes that they're not comfortable with just because of the fear of being abandoned. Trying to, in your mind even, trying to come up with the version of you that you think they want. Again, a lot of mind reading is going on. Now, the first fight is often where things start to fall apart. This is where you experience physical anxiety, intense physical anxiety when there is conflict or uncertainty, and your brain goes wild. It comes up with every circumstance on how this is going very, very, very bad and that things are going to fall apart. And again, you might even go back and start to do some of those previous behaviors because of this uncertainty. Now we're starting to get serious. And number 5 is you feel like you're the one keeping the relationship together. You're constantly, again, similar to number 3, you're constantly working, overworking to keep this relationship going instead of getting to know them and deciding for yourself whether this is the right person for you. Number 6 is often when you're committed, but it can happen earlier. And this is where you obsess or do mental compulsions over whether you've chosen the right person. Do I like them? Did I like them? Did I like that? Was that okay? Is this the person I want to be with? And now you're starting to turn on them, like analyze and ruminate and do mental compulsions about, are they the right one? Could this be the one? Is it not the one? What's wrong with them? What's right with them? And go over and over and over and over and over with that. So lastly, this is when things start to get really, really rocky. You're starting to have all of these relationship anxieties are starting to really impact your wellness, your self-esteem, and the self-esteem and the health of this relationship. And then you start to blame yourself for ruining the relationship with your anxiety. And here's where I really want to stop you and remind you that this is not your fault. You're not broken. You're not doing anything bad. And it doesn't mean the relationship is doomed. A lot of relationships work through this, and the person with relationship anxiety actually heals because their partner is a safe place for them to work through this. That's what's so important. So now let's talk about what you can do. Number 1, you want to name and normalize this anxiety. You want to be able to say to your partner, even, I have relationship anxiety. It's probably going to come up. I'm going to do my best to handle it. If for any reason you notice that I'm spiraling, just put your hand on my arm or my shoulder and remind me that you're here with me. Or you could do it for yourself. You could just go, okay, it's here. I notice it. Then what you can do is remind yourself that thoughts are not facts. Just because you have the thought that something's bad or something's wrong doesn't mean it's true. You can learn to just observe those thoughts without treating them like they're so important. Number 3, you're going to need a ton of self-compassion. A lot of times this relationship anxiety can be massively improved by you learning how to be a kind voice in your mind, learning how to coach yourself through this process really, really well so that you don't spiral and engage in behaviors that cause problems or make your anxiety worse. The 4th skill is a DBT skill, dialectical behavioral therapy. And this is a skill where we practice checking the facts. Now, we don't want to overuse this because it can become very reassurance seeking, but you can practice checking the facts, which is acknowledging, stopping and pausing and saying, listen, okay, so they haven't replied back with the text for a while. What could that be? And you're there to try and engage in that rational mind of saying, yeah, I'm going to give him permission or her permission to not respond back. Maybe she's busy, and check those facts and catch how you often will negatively bias into like the worst case scenario. You want to be able to catch that and pull it back. Another thing is you can also check the facts with them. Hey, I'm noticing the fear that something's going on between us. Do you want to talk about it? And again, that might be helpful, but you don't want to overuse that skill. Number 5 is to track triggers and patterns. I want you to actually track this on an Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet because you will find patterns, and that will help you to be able to troubleshoot and manage it in the moment. And last of all, practice skillful communication, similar to checking the facts. It's you learning how to communicate it instead of in a state of anxiety and uncertainty, rushing to them, getting angry, getting frustrated, getting anxious, and forcing sort of an experience of certainty and trust and safety that isn't helpful, right? So that's what we really want to make sure that we're doing. Okay. So I just want to quickly share with you a resource that you might find really helpful if you have relationship anxiety, and it's called the Rumination Reset. It is a course that we have that will teach you exactly how to stop ruminating. Now, this is probably the most important skill I teach as a therapist. It's probably going to be the most important skill you learn in your mental health or your lifetime journey. So that's there for you. You can look at the links below if you're wanting to learn more about that. I highly recommend it. And a lot of students have said it has been so incredibly helpful to stop them from overthinking, Stop ruminating and stop doing mental compulsions. Now, things to remember. Number one, these are some common signs of relationship anxiety, but there are others. These are just the top 7. There are many ways in which it can show up. Number 2 is it's not your fault. Please stop beating yourself up for this. Number 3, today, as always, we say it is a beautiful day to do those really, really hard things. Number 4, please be gentle as you do this practice. It is not easy. It is hard. It's simple but hard. And last of all is that I want to give you some hope. You can overcome relationship anxiety with time and patience and practice. Okay? As always, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next video.